It was not just a coincidence, it was drip feeding. We were taught only to heal with medication. We were never, it's sick care, it's not health care. We're treating sick people, we want them to be sick. There's no money, no big bucks in keeping people healthy.
Hi everybody, this is Klaus from Plant-Based News. I'm with the wonderful Dr. Nitu. Welcome very much to Plant-Based News.
Thank you, Klaus. It's really been a very exciting day today already, and thank you for inviting me to talk to you.
No problem. So you have been vegan for
several years. Well, actually, I was a lifelong I was born a vegetarian. Did try and eat meat a few times to see what it tasted like, and then went vegetarian completely from 1992 when I was pregnant. Realized that I thought I'd make some mince for my husband and washed it. Saw the blood running away and got a real fright, realized what I was doing, became vegetarian overnight completely at that stage. But then when my daughter was about 10, she came home and said she was not going to be eating meat anymore. So I thought I'd better find out a little bit more. And to my joy, I discovered being vegan. I'm a bit sad and angry because as a doctor, I was never taught nutrition, never taught the impact that what I was putting into my body and advising my patients was making a big difference. Mm-hmm. So that has really changed the way I look, where this is a win-win situation. When you eat the right way, when you practice your morals in the right way, you help not just your health, mental and physical, but also the planet and all the sentient beings that share the world with us. So I think that's really important.
Wow, so inspirational. And what I find even more inspirational is the fact you found out about the plant-based lifestyle before 2005, which is when the China study came out and Earthlings came out. So what was the sort of landscape like back then and before then for information about the plant-based lifestyle?
So I think my daughters and I were the only vegans in the village. And so really there was a lot of eye rolling, everybody understood vegetarianism. I'm Indian. So being vegetarian wasn't an affront to what I was asking. The moment I said I was vegan, they didn't understand it. So some people were really genuinely interested to know why. And so I was explaining that I didn't want to be part of exploiting any animals. But most people were resistant, especially members from my family side, as well as friends. They found it deep down, it disturbed them. They realized there was an element of truth of what I was saying, and so it took quite a long time, even for my husband. And now his only regret is that he didn't turn vegan at the same time as us. And the social pressures were huge, the challenges were huge. I did start having a couple of spoons of dairy when I was out, and I had written in my little note saying how ashamed I was. And actually, there's no need to be ashamed. It's a journey for people. And I want my patients and everybody to understand that this is a journey. It takes time, educate yourself. Now is the time. Social media is there. There are movies, The Game Changers, Forks Over Knives, Eating You Alive, From the Ground Up, Running for Good, the amazing Fiona Oakes. I really feel that this is somebody who actually emulates everything that it is. Veganism, it's an ethical philosophy that is good not just for the planet, not just good for the animals, but it's also good for our health. So, just love it.
You mentioned your patients and you mentioned just then health. Yes. What kind of doctor are you?
So I've been a doctor for 40 years. I've been a gynaecologist, which means I look after women who are pregnant, delivering babies, operating on them, looking after them during their menopause, in their 80s as well. So during this time, I realized that what I was doing to people, I was helping them in their journey of having a healthy baby, having surgery, life-saving. But I wasn't making the change that I really had been trained to do. And I then was so upset to realize that, the diet that I had chosen because for ethics was actually the best diet that my patients could be on. And the numbers of changes that I see, women who haven't had their periods for years go on a plant-based diet and their periods start coming back regularly. Women who are preparing for the menopause, actually eating the right foods, because there's so much of myths about soy and plant foods and how it'll make you weak. But inherently, everybody knows that eating fruits and vegetables, beans and grains, and not really trying to avoid all the junk food which is there nowadays, you really will actually experience a lot of health, and that the closer one moves to a whole food plant-based way of eating. So somebody might say, oh my God, you're asking me to turn vegan. No, all we are asking you to do is think about what choices you make 3 times a day, what you put in your mouth. When you make those changes, you will soon realize, just take breakfast and make it plant-based. Just move your hand from cow's milk to the soy milk or the oat milk. They're both sustainable as well. Then look at lunch and then make it, a plant-based Monday, and then a plant-based Tuesday, and then soon you'll be on your journey. For others, they need to maybe watch a slaughterhouse video and actually see what these poor animals, and I'm a feminist, and I don't think people realize that feminism and veganism go hand in hand. You can't really be a true feminist because all the animals that are being exploited are pigs, cows, hens, they're all mothers.
Especially in the dairy industry.
Yeah, in the dairy industry. And my daughter, I remember when she was about 9 or 10, she said, Mummy, I can't eat dairy. I said, why not? Why can't you just be a vegetarian? She said, because white equals red. The white milk becomes a red meat. It's the same byproduct of the same thing. And that always stuck with me. And, I think it's really important to understand that different people will have different journeys. It's just a question of working out where you are and how you want to do it. But there's plenty of help available, plenty of resources. Certainly, everybody should be looking to reduce their impact on other animals as well as on this planet and improve their health. Nothing like living a joyous life. There's no deprivation here.
And you've spoken there about sort of veganism and the ethical component. How do you find talking about those issues with your patients in like a patient setting?
So the way I do it is because I'm a lifestyle medicine physician as well. I think the first thing I want to understand is a little bit about where they're coming from. What is their family history? What work do they do? What is their job? What are their daily stresses? And I do spend some time. It doesn't take a lot of time once you're quite experienced. And once I've got that, then I work out what is their sleep routine? What is their exercise regime? What is their stresses? What sort of risky substances do they take? And then I ask them about their diet. And then once I start talking about their diet, I ask them whether they are willing to open their minds, because if they've come to see me because they've got fibroids or endometriosis, these are all female conditions, menopause, cancer of the womb, any of these conditions, they are all breast cancer, these are all women who will actually benefit from going on to a plant-based diet. So they often say, oh, Dr. Bajekal, you're asking me to go vegan. No, I'm not. Veganism is an ethical philosophy. Yes, it would be great if you can be a whole food plant-based vegan or a plant-based vegan. Yes, but definitely for your health, the first step you need to do is make a change in what you're putting in your mouth. Because we know study after study after study has shown that the closer you move to eating plants, the healthier you're going to be. All studies have shown that you tend to be slimmer. People are worried about putting on weight. It's the one diet shown in the broad study that showed that you can actually be slimmer and you can keep your weight off for much longer. It becomes a way of life. It's not a diet. Diets are destined to fail. A lifestyle can't fail.
And what do you say to the sort of ketogenic advocates and the proponents of like the it was paleo before and now it's the carnivore diet? You got Joe Rogan yesterday, for example, who's a big podcast host, saying that he's lost lots of weight on a carnivore diet recently. What do you sort of say to that?
I say that you can actually lose weight on cocaine. You can lose weight on chemotherapy. Do I want to lose weight like that? No. So all these diets, keto diet, paleo diet, all shades of the Atkins diet. And you know what Dr. Atkins died of? He fell down.
Heart disease, right?
Heart disease. Yeah. So really, we know that all these fad diets are because people like to hear good things about their bad habits. And there's a lot of money to be made with confusion. If every single day, everybody came on air and said, eat plants, nobody's going to tune in. Nobody's going to tune into any of these radios or newspapers. So keep people confused. Then the junk industry wins, the politicians win, the meat industry wins, the oil industry wins. Everybody's a winner. I have a mortgage to pay. I have children to send to private school. Hospitals have tests to run and keep patients ill. There is no incentive for making people better. So I always say, nobody knows your body better than you do. Lifestyle medicine is there to work alongside Western medicine. Don't just believe your doctor. Research the science yourself. make the changes and use Western medicine when you need it, but try and actually heal yourself in most of the situations. Because 80% of what I see and what most doctors see is lifestyle related, whether it's heart disease or cancer or diabetes, or whether it is women's health issues. So, it's not a big deal at all.
It's really interesting what you're saying, and you mentioned there how the food system's connected with so many different industries, and where agriculture is connected with government and food and hospitals. Have you ever felt that kind of pressure from industry in your workplace?
No, but I do realize that as a medical student, we all love free things, and we used to get really excited getting a free pen or a free lunch, but there is nothing called a free lunch. Because almost all of that has got underwritten whichever pharmaceutical company it is. And guess where the pharmaceuticals make their most money from? 80% of the pharmaceutical industry makes antibiotics for the animal population. So it was not just a coincidence, it was drip feeding. We were taught only to heal with medication. It's sick care, it's not health care. We're treating sick people, we want them to be sick. There's no money, no big bucks in keeping people healthy. So that's what I want people to do, is to wake up and realize that actually you are in charge of your destiny. You have to be the one, self-care, self-management, and along with that comes a responsibility. You've been given this huge privilege of being on this earth, part of something that's so magical. And why do you think you have the right to take it away from any other being? Nobody has come, no woman has been put on this planet to serve a man. So it's patriarchy, it's racism, casteism, sexism, and speciesism. So, we need to understand that we all can live in harmony at the same time looking after ourselves. There is no deprivation. This is actually a fun way to live.
I completely agree, and it's interesting what you say when you're saying they want us to be sick. A lot of people watching this might say you sound quite conspiratorial. Do you think the people that sort of promote pharmaceuticals or meat-based diets, do you think they have a lack of integrity, or are they just misinformed?
Doctors are not bad people. We're trained to heal people. But because we're not taught, we don't understand. We read the same newspapers, the same organizations that feed us, the public, the information feeds us. So as a result, we go home and we're going to chop down on our chicken or on our steak. How are you going to tell somebody, listen, your prostate cancer could be made better if you cut out that cheese, your breast cancer could heal if you ate plants? It's impossible. Do you understand? So I don't think anybody is bad. Hospitals are there to help, and of course everybody wants to make money. Nobody's asking for everything to be free. But what we do have to understand is that this is not the best way. You have to now actually bring change, and maybe the change has to come from outside, from young people. I have great hope for young people like you that will actually change things, because the hardest generation is our generation. We've lived quite a long time. We don't want to make changes. The changes that people do want to make are people often in their late 70s and 80s, I think, and people who are young like you. So everybody can be convinced, but I think it's the youth that are going to have to bring this real shift. But everybody has a responsibility. You can't just shirk it off.
What do you think will bring about true change? Individual change, like with diet, or sort of system, institutional, government change?
I think it's going to be system change. I think individuals do have a responsibility because of the feel-good factor. You feel that you're making a difference. Come on. I mean, what can be better than you waking up every day and knowing that you're trying to be as kind as possible to the people around you, to reducing child hunger, to the animals around you. But it needs system change. It needs tech changes. It needs big organizations to come on board. And that's why it needs the young brains to actually fuel this, and private investors if governments don't want to. Ultimately, we are here, we are kind people, we can actually make that difference. But individual changes and system changes, but system changes are probably the most.
Where can people find out more about your work? Do you have a website or any social media?
I'm very approachable. I am happy to speak to even two people on the road. I don't let a single dog walker go when I'm on my dog walks with my two rescue dogs. I can be found at Dr. Nitu Bajekal, which is Instagram. Otherwise, my website is www.nitubajekal.com. It's pretty easy, and I'm happy to engage with all of you.
Great. I'll link that website and the respective social media down below. Thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.